Yeah, these Catahoulas, that's our state dog. That's Rambo, and that's Becky. Some people use them for deer hounds, coon hounds. A good all-around dog. I'm Rambo. I've been foreman since 1980 when I got out of high school. Started foreman with my dad and my older brother. But I actually moved to this location in '93. And right now I'm doing about 400 acres of crawfish. By the middle of November right now, so it's been flooded for about a month now, these ponds. I should have some young crawfish in here right now, some babies. Sometimes they're real hard to find them. You see that green grass right here? And it's not too stiff. I may be able to get one out of there. Look, this one's about the size of an ant. Normally you like to get about 5, 6 crawfish per dip. If you want early crawfish, you need a lot of rain early and warm weather. Hopefully I'll have all big crawfish this year. I try to bring my dogs with me as much as I can, and they'll keep the varmints out. Let's see if we can get this thing fired up here. Out here we have to pump all our own water, so without these wells we just can't grow crawfish. You know, we can't depend on the rain and Mother Nature to flood our ponds. Good stuff. They're scavengers. They'll pretty near eat anything. A lot of the algae and all those microorganisms that grow in these rice fields is what they'll eat. Snails and bugs and worms and pretty much anything. I normally just grab his head and twist the tail off and peel one ring off and suck the meat out after I suck the head. Mardi Gras marks the beginning of Lent, and we have a big celebration in town there. One year I almost won the trophy for catching the most chickens. I was only one shy of being the champion chicken catcher. They don't throw those big fat plump yard chickens. They throw those little game chickens or a guinea, and they're really quick. So it's almost impossible to overrun one. You just got to be at the right place at the right time to catch one. Married my high school sweetheart. We have 2 kids, Jacques and Jill. My dream is to have my son come back to the farm and farm with me, like I did, and my dad did, and his dad did. As long as I can remember, my family's been in farming, and I'd hate for it to stop with me, you know. I'd like to see it continue. In these rice fields, crawfish grow real fast, and they have a lot of the sweet fat in the head. I like to suck the head, so to me that's where the flavor's at, you know. These imported tail meats, and it's just not the same as ours. It's a little rubbery and just not as tasteful. Most of the time they wash the fat off of those imported crawfish, and these just processed locally. They pack them with the fat on, and that's where your flavor's at. That's our little push boat right here. Walk behind that all day, you sleep good at night. And that's the mechanical boats over here, them hydraulic boats. You can cover a lot more acres with these mechanical boats. These are the traps we use to catch those crawfish with. During the winter we use like shad or what they call trash fish. We'll put a half a fish in here, and every day we dump these traps out and take the crawfish out and put a fresh piece of fish in here. But later in the summer we'll go ahead and use a artificial bait. I like to see them when they're about half full of crawfish. That's a good harvest. It's a pretty good catch for this year. I normally pull about 40 sacks a day out of that 50 acres on a good year, but of course it's better than the 3 or 4 sacks we've been catching. So in the last week, it's coming up a few sacks every day. If you put your bait in there, like today we put our old fish back in that we used yesterday with 1 cube of artificial, and you just set it in there, and they got these funnels right here, and those crawfish crawl up and get in there, and they pretty much don't come out. We normally use shad or some type of a trash fish, and we use that to bait our traps. But today we went with some artificial bait, we call it, which is a lot cheaper and a lot less messier. And when it gets hot, that old fish gets to stinking. When you pull that trap up, you pop that thing in that water. Pop it in that water, it gets all that mud and any trash out of there. I sell straight to that buyer, so I like to keep them sacks clean. Look, let's go ahead and sack these up and try to fill them sacks full, Jack. You know what I mean? Them buyers want a full sack. Let me show you how we tie. You pull that like that, and then you do just like you tie and you shoestring. Yeah, that's my little girl, Jill. She's part of the crawfish industry too. She works at Hawk's Restaurant. Well, I like to keep the boats clean. After we load them on a truck and they go straight to a seafood market, you know, nobody wants to buy an old muddy sack of crawfish, you know. They call that a hydraulic crawfish boat. I just put a Honda engine with a hydraulic pump and run a few motors to some iron wheels back here in the back, and it's kind of my own design, I guess, but it works pretty good. We used to just walk behind a boat and push it. We got mechanized. We'd go out there and show you how it's done. We're fixing to go harvest some crawfish here. Make a round out there and see if we can't catch a few bugs. Starting to be a pretty good size. That's not a bad crawfish right here. And fish is pretty expensive too. Right now it's probably taking me about 600 pounds of bait a day. And I drive with my feet, that way I get both hands free. Beats walking, but you sit in this boat 8 or 10 hours dumping these traps, that gets pretty tiring too. Got a turtle right here. I missed it. I believe I'd rather a good turtle fricassee than a crawfish. Crawfish etouffee served over rice. I believe I could eat that every day. Like I said, they were small up until about a week ago, and this warm weather, they're really starting to grow. These crawfish here, like this big dark one, to me they're not as tasty as these younger brown crawfish. These here, that's this year's crop. This is an old crawfish from last year. So these young tender crawfish, they're easier to peel. The fat's a lot sweeter. When you suck that head, you get a lot sweeter taste, you know. I like them a little bit bigger than this, but still tender. Like this, still brown and tender. Pretty good size. To me, that's the best eating ones. And the processors, they want those young, tender crawfish too. They yield more meat per pound. You take a big crawfish like this, you got a lot of head and claws, you know, you're not getting, they don't yield as much tail meat. Actually, catching's not too bad. Normally, we're catching about 2 pounds per trap this time of year. Probably averaging about 1 pound per trap right now, which ain't bad. You know, I'll take that. With the prices up the way they are, we can still come out and make a profit, you know. All right, let's see if you can stay off the phone long enough.
Them women, man.
Oh, yeah. Them women wanting to shoot you.
Yeah.
That phone, take that and throw that in the water. Guess he'll get the hang of it sooner or later. I usually like to fish until the 4th of July, and that's usually when I shut it down. It gets so hot, crawfish usually burrow back down when that water temperature gets up so hot. I'm a small farmer, and like I said, I just plant a few hundred, probably 300 or 400 acres of rice, sometimes 500 acres of rice. And I probably got $750,000 worth of equipment, you know. And if you have a choice, buy your locally grown Louisiana crawfish and help support the local economy.